What will happen to America if Kamala Harris becomes president? The answer to that question is revealed in our explosive 88-page special report. And you can get it absolutely free from one of America's most truthful news sources, WorldNetDaily. Dozens of trusted experts come together to paint a shocking but accurate picture of what will become of the greatest nation on earth if Kamala Harris becomes president. Just call 8337-KAMALA or go to KamalaFreeReport.com and download your copy of Kamala's America immediately. That's KamalaFreeReport.com.
WorldNetDaily, we are live. It is October 30th, Wednesday, 2024, and we are 6 days away from taking out the garbage. Welcome, everybody. Yes, Election Day is just 6 days away, and the shenanigans have already begun, folks. We're going to take a look at some incredible footage that we've compiled over on X, and to see what's been going on at the early voting polls. There's reports surfacing of Democrat-backed volunteers roaming these early voting sites and allegedly influencing voters to leave by claiming it's taking too long, or just closing up the polls early and saying the polls closed in the middle of the afternoon and they got to go home. So we're going to cover that, and of course this whole garbage comment. We got to get the guys in here, Josh and Joe Kovacs. Good afternoon, you guys, and good morning for some of us. Yes. So let's watch the clip before we say anything, because there's apostrophe gate has now started. But let's watch the clip here of Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, who was speaking at the same, who went on TV speaking at the same time Kamala was having the largest rally in American history over at the ellipses. But let's watch this clip, this garbage clip.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Well, there it is. So the only garbage he sees floating out there is his supporters. Joe, what do you think?
Demonization.
Or Josh.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. Joe.
Well, the G word garbage has now entered the fray of the 2024 race. And of course, it reminds us all of Hillary Clinton calling half of Trump's supporters deplorables back in her election cycle. But now Joe has upped the game to go 100% of Trump supporters are garbage, not just deplorable, but garbage. So apparently, if you're on the political right or you think there's a problem with the current administration, you stink. That's the message that President Biden is conveying. And I don't know if this is the October surprise or not, or if it's just one more of Joe Biden's brilliant moves to stab Kamala Harris in the back, because I don't think he wanted her, or he put forth her name to be the next Democrat nominee because of the political coup that took him out of office. The Dems wanted somebody else, but Joe brilliantly put the Einstein of our generation, Kamala Harris, at the top of the ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh, what do you think? The Dems are coming out. The White House is coming out. We have this image here that they're scrambling to cover for Biden's language. Here it is. So they've got the transcript and stuff. And so they were referring to the Trump supporters like rhetoric as garbage, or what they believe, or something of that effect. I mean, what do you think? What do you think of this spin afterwards here?
I mean, he's just being honest. You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of how the other side of the country starts to see us or their opponent, the opponents of the Democrats. This is how they see us. And I've heard way worse, that just, no one can contain themselves anymore. It's starting to come out. And this is classic basket of deplorables language, garbage, humans. And it's kind of great, though. It took the heat off the floating island of garbage, Puerto Rico.
Well, I mean, and it also took the heat off calling us Nazis and Nazi supporters. I mean, and Hitler supporters, because I mean, and is that the media sphere is all abuzz trying to defend these comments, but where were they defending the comments when we were being called Hitler supporters and going to Nazi rallies? Is garbage the peak of the offensive terms? It's garbage, then Nazis. I mean, what's the hierarchy here?
Can we guess that we're going to get to garbage Nazi somewhere between now and Tuesday? definitely.
And fascist, all mixed into that landfill of trash refuse that we're going to see.
And they're going to set it all on fire, right? We need a dumpster fire at this point, which is exactly what all this feels like.
I'm just going to ask Grok to visualize what this looks like as a garbage fascist.
Yes, I want to see what Grok. Make sure it's on fun mode, Josh. You got to have it on fun mode. It's the best use of Grok. Well, while you're doing that, Kamala Harris did come out with a statement on Biden's statement, and let's hear how she's taking this.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for. You heard my speech last night and continuously throughout my career. I believe that the work that I do is about representing all the people, whether they support me or not. And as President of the United States, I will be a president for all Americans, whether you vote for me or not.
I mean, obviously that's the statement, right? That's a political statement. That's what they all say, you know. I mean, that's the thing about Joe Biden, right? Over his whole career is he's kind of like the Democrats sort of like Trump guy. He always just says stuff, and that's how he's been for his entire career. So, you know, when he talks this way, it's not surprising.
Right. It's crazy old Joe, Uncle Joe, moving kind of slow at the junction. And the junction, of course, is the White House here. And you expect it from Joe Biden. And they'll, of course, blame, well, it's just, you know, his age. He's got cognitive disabilities. And Kamala Harris, of course, did the only thing she could. What was she going to say? Yes, they are garbage. Trump supporters are garbage. So, you know, that was the diplomatic answer that she gave. And it was a decent recovery, I think, from the political spectrum. But the very fact that we are seeing garbage being talked about in the final week of the election is just stunning to me. It's like they've run out of real things to talk about. There is no border problem. Inflation is irrelevant. The wars around the world are not really happening. All we can focus on is that Trump supporters are allegedly garbage. So this is what we've come to. This is America in 2024. The media are going to play this up the wazoo, and it's just going to be just a stunning final week of lunacy, political lunacy as we head toward Election Day.
There it is. And I believe, is that going to be Melania's inauguration dress? Is that what we're looking at there? You guys, this is, I mean, once again, Joe, and you're hitting it right there. This is just where we're at. You know, I mean, we got 6 days left. I won't necessarily say that this is a distraction, although it is a distraction from, we're not talking about Nazis and the Nazi rally. So that is kind of a win. So once again, Joe may be throwing some shade at the Trump campaign in the news, but let's get to what's really going on, because the title of this episode is Stay in Line. And that refers to the folks who are showing up to the polls to stay in line. This article here, I really encourage you folks to go to WND.com and read this article. Change the numbers in your own county. A Democrat operative spills the quiet part on voter fraud. This article here covers an undercover video that Steven Crowder's team obtained, or maybe took part in, that just kind of lays out what happened in 2020, what the strategy is going forward here, and it's all about making sure they can manipulate the vote within their own stronghold counties and stuff. So it's very fascinating to watch the video that's in that article there. I really encourage you guys to go over there and do that. But we do have to get to this first clip here of showing what's been going on around the country. And we want to preface this with if you see any of this stuff, Elon Musk has set up a tip, an election integrity tip line. So if you are aware of any election integrity issues, please report them to the X election integrity community. Folks, if you don't have an account on X,
What are you thinking?
What are you doing? I mean, you're watching this show and you don't have an account on X. You're missing. You're a bump on the log. I'm just gonna say, like, get over there. Ask your grandkids, whoever you need to ask. Get yourself an X account, because if you see any election integrity, Elon Musk wants to know about it, and the guy's got $1 billion to play around with, so it's no joke. But somebody apparently found a box of ballots in the street in Florida. Joe, this is down in your neck of the woods. I
didn't do it. I'm innocent.
Well, this is remarkable. Check out this video of these folks out in Miami-Dade.
So, así es como nosotros nos vamos a pasar las elecciones. This is 2024 election. Look at that. Y eso está sellado. That's sealed. Look at that. Official materials. ¿Cómo eso estaba en el medio de la calle botado? Yo quiero que tú me expliques eso. That's crazy. ¿Cómo se le cayó aquí? No quiero oír nada. No sé nada.
Elecciones y quería darle las gracias por ser tan honesto y doing a good community service. Thank you.
Thank you. The police say thank you as those folks deliver back a box of ballots. I mean, the thing was sealed. It still had the zip tie around it, and it looked pretty official. Joe, what have you heard anything about this? What's your take on that video?
Well, it's my first. I have not heard anything about this, but it is not surprising based on what we saw in 2020. This episode here puts new meaning behind early voting when you have a box out there in the street, whether it's overnight in the middle of the morning. Last time we saw people going to drop boxes and stuffing all kinds of ballots into them in the middle of the night, allegedly with Democrat ballots. And we had all those claims of stolen election coming from President Trump himself and Mike Lindell and other people. But, just driving along the road, this is the last thing I think you would ever see in Florida. You would see, alligators cross the road, or all the wild things live down here in the Sunshine State. But this is a new one on me. But I live in a different county. I live in perhaps the most conservative county in the state, which is Martin County, just north of Palm Beach. It actually used to be part of Palm Beach, where President Trump lives, but the residents here were so fed up with the high tax and no representation that we actually seceded from Palm Beach County to be this conservative enclave here. But Miami-Dade, it's very South Florida. It's attached to Broward County, which is the Fort Lauderdale area, which is notorious for election cheating. That's where they had the famous hanging chads back in the Bush versus Gore election of the year 2000, and Al Gore saying, hey, we just want to count all the votes. Let's do a recount, count all the votes. But he didn't want to count all the votes. He just wanted to count those in Broward County, because they knew that the place was rife with Democrats who could help him out, and it could have swayed the election to Al Gore over Bush, George W. Bush at the time. So this is a new one for me, ballots on the street.
Josh, have you ever seen anything like that, though? I mean, just a box of ballots.
It's so we're in this weird time. I since 2020 we had the vote early, vote by ballot. I wasn't even familiar with that before 2020, that you could do that. I thought it was just for military people serving overseas or something, right. Something weird. But now it's you see, remember we saw that clip in Portland where they're on fire.
Yeah.
A strategy may be to take the ballots, all of the early ballots, and just get rid of them so that it'll be unknown, or in specific areas, especially if you thought, oh, there's a chance that more people in this area will vote for Trump, get rid of all the ballots.
Right.
I think it's we're just in this weird phase. It's really discouraging that since 2020, this stuff's still going to happen. There's been no real change to the election process. It doesn't seem like, at least.
No, and I think when the November 5th does roll around, you're going to see a lot of people showing up to vote. We're going to see more and more of these stories. So we're let's keep going through some of these clips. It's please bring your phones to these polls, folks. I mean, you got to have them fully charged and ready to go. By the way, scrolling at the bottom here are headlines of stories over at WND.com. So make sure if you see something down there that piques your interest, head over to WND.com to check those out. So this clip here, somebody followed they called him a suspicious man with a Rhode Island, we're going to see he had Rhode Island license plates, but he was in Pennsylvania dropping off a huge box full of mail-in ballots. Let's watch this clip.
Excuse me. Excuse me. How many ballots you turning in there? You're supposed to only turn in one ballot per person. Do you have an affidavit for all those? Okay. Sure. I don't know. Apparently he's with the post office, but that looks very suspect. There's somebody here in Northampton County dropping off an obscene amount of ballots at the very last second after the office is actually closed, so... This guy.
So you can kind of see that he might, he claimed to be with the post office, but he's also driving a Rhode Island license plate vehicle. So it is suspicious. So who knows what the real story is behind this, but this is the kind of thing that people are trying to point out there. And I'm not sure how close Rhode Island is to that particular post office that he was in, but it seems rather odd to me as well.
Matt, if we just get rid of all this ridiculous, this stuff, just go to a secure location and vote. Turning in boxes and boxes of ballots is just inviting this kind of, first of all, suspicion. We don't know what the guy's doing is normal because it's not normal. It may be the new normal. So
yeah, but Josh,
the whole public's just confused now.
But Josh, when you do show up at a polling place, now you're being told that it's taking too long. So watch this evidence. I got the receipts.
The answer is no. So that I'll be happy. Give me your receipt. Take your name on it. Take a picture. You can take a picture. My name is Michael Bannon. Let's not do that. So my name is Michael Bannon. You can fill this out. We'll do the best we can. I have no problem. I've tried my best. You can fill this out.
On the top of your ballot, put if you want it mailed to your house or if you want to pick it up Thursday. Just pick it up Thursday. You can, if you elect Thursday, you can come here Thursday and pick up your ballot.
No, I'm a volunteer, but I will be happy to do so. Give it me. I'll do it.
And then you'll pick up your
ballot.
Thank you.
That he handed it in to me. Yes, I'll do that.
Would it be a line like that? No.
So once again, making it difficult for people that just want to show up and vote. Let's watch this other clip here of people being told that the voting is closed in the middle of the afternoon. Is that the next one?
It's 2:41, and they are ending the line.
I like how it takes two of them to open.
I have a question. I have to bring someone here about 4 o'clock to vote. Are they going to
ask you to talk to this?
Are they going to turn everyone down?
I'm going to ask you to talk to this gentleman because the voting is closed right now.
It's closed.
I just want you to talk to this gentleman.
We have the right to vote until 4:30.
I get you.
Why is it closed?
Let me explain it to you.
Please.
Okay. This process is very slow and grueling.
That doesn't matter if we're online.
Very slow and grueling.
Doesn't matter if we're online by 4:30. We have the right to vote.
The reason why it had to close was because a high volume of people wanted to do this. Slow and grueling.
Well, then they have to wait till everyone's.
They had to cut the line at 1:45.
They cut the line at 1:45.
1:45.
You hear that, everyone? They cut the line at 1:45. This is voter fraud, by the way.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Oh, voter protection. I heard about that on X. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Contact
Voter protection. Let's
contact the county commissioners to complain.
This is, and so you don't think this is voter fraud? This is.
Yeah, incredible. We're closing the line at 1:45, and
Amen.
because it's slow and grueling.
Isn't Kamala Harris slow and grueling?
Oh my God!
It's slow and grueling, man.
What?
It's slow
what?
and grueling.
Who? I mean, that guy.
What is that?
I don't know what that slow and grueling.
I've never heard that before, and I don't
like
know
a
if he had a
talking
badge, but he was in some sort of uniform, like the mall cop, Paul Blart, mall cop, that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have people out there telling people that they shut the line at 1:45 in the afternoon. I mean, that's prime voting time. Usually on people's lunch break or something, they break away to go vote. But apparently, it's so slow and grueling.
Grueling.
Grueling. As they're groveling there, it's just, it's like, what country am I living in? This is not America. This is some banana republic or worse. Remember when Saddam Hussein got 100% of the vote? 100% of the vote. I mean, who could believe that? But this is the kind of nonsense and shenanigans we're seeing. And it's not even election day yet, because election day has become apparently election month, or however long it takes them to count and recount the ballots so that the Democrats are assured of victory. But this is absolutely absurd.
How many stories have we heard about folks who have left, East Germany or Soviet Russia or Poland or Croatia or Vietnam or someplace where they come to America after having lived under this oppressive regime of communism or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. And then they get here and they are so appreciative of the right to vote. They are so appreciative. They don't care. They are so appreciative of the right to vote that they don't care if there's a long line. They don't care if it's slow and grueling. Like the idea that I'm going to be deterred from casting my vote because it's slow and grueling. Folks, if you're out there, this is why we're telling you to stay in line. If you're out there and people are coaxing you to say, come back another day or go home and try and do a mail, just it's slow and grueling. We're going to no, this is the line in the sand for me, you guys. This is the line in the sand for me. I mean, I'm going to go to the polling places, encourage people, stay in line. Whatever I can do beyond breaking the law to encourage people to stand in line at the polling place. I encourage you, stand in line. If you're in a place that's still early voting, go early vote right now. And if it takes too long, then come back tomorrow. Come back every day until you can vote. And just stay in line. This is absolutely absurd. I can't believe it. And then these people, that lady in the purple and those people, that's called voter protection. It's put on by the Pennsylvania Democrat Party. What are they doing standing out there? Look at these guys. This is a report. This is WorldNetDaily tweeted this out on X. Reports of Pennsylvania and the PA Dems have deployed people pretending to be election officials to harass early voters. They're pacing the line, complaining about how long it's taking, and encouraging voters to leave. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. And man, if I was living in, I mean, the reason I live where I live now is because I'd be in jail if I lived in one of these cities, you guys. I wouldn't take it.
Voter protection.
It shouldn't be called voter protection. It should be called Kamala protection or Democrat protection, because that's exactly what's going on. They are not protecting your vote. They're destroying it.
And then we have this clip of people standing in line for I don't know how long, right? They're standing in line, ready to vote. They've got their IDs and everything. And then all of a sudden a group of what appears to be non-speaking immigrants get rushed to the front of the line. Watch this clip.
No, they had these people, they had about 12 of them walked in, they were all foreigners, and then they took them up, these younger people helped them to fill out, they say vote PA today, and then they took them up, and somehow they beat a 2-hour line, and then they walked up, and the one lady, they were even asking her, they're like, we don't have you in the system, your name's not right, and they're like, oh, well, we'll take it back and change it.
Yeah.
How do you change your damn name?
Exactly, yeah. Well, thank you.
Look at that. You can see all the people behind them looking at this group going, what are they doing? What are
Matt,
they doing?
These are clearly asylum seekers that are being assisted in, I'm sure they have rushed citizenship. That's probably what it is, Matt. Don't worry. Even though you should feel bad for them because they're now going to go through a slow and grueling process to have their vote illegally counted.
I'm not somebody that that judges books by their cover. I don't know. Maybe these people are citizens. You know, all Americans look different. All Americans speak differently. It doesn't, I'm not, but that was clearly a coordinated effort to bring people to the front of the line that are all of one particular group. They didn't all seem to be a mix of Americans. It wasn't like there was a nice diverse cross section of Americans in that group being shoveled to the front of the line. I don't know what's going on. But I'm glad we're seeing it here in real time before I don't know. I'm kind of lost here. Help me out.
Well, you got to remember that Democrats are the masters of deception and diversion. This is their game plan. They know they cannot win legitimately with Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. So they have to do every possible thing. Josh brought up the fact that ballots were being burned in more than one state. We had it in Oregon. We had it in Washington State. Previous to that, there were incidents in Arizona, I believe, in the Phoenix area. So why are ballots being burned? This is part of the game plan that the Democrats will do anything and everything they possibly can to corrupt the vote, to make sure that the will of the people is never fulfilled, because it's pretty obvious that at this point, anyway, with a week to go into the election day, that President Trump has all the momentum going for him. That you look at his rallies, they're packed, everybody's loving him, and the Democrats are talking garbage. So it's they're talking smack, they're talking garbage.
I'm just surprised. Like, some of these things I've never even heard of before. Closing the line at 1 o'clock. I've never seen that stuff before. Some of the stuff we have seen before, like this next image here. Apparently, a Houston location has been closed because of a water leak. Believe it or not,
the good old water leak.
Some old water and power issues happening at some voting locations. Interesting thing about this is somebody on X called up that place, that hotel, and said, "I hear you're having water and power issues." And the hotel said, "What are you talking about?" So who knows what's going on? A lot of misinformation going on out there, and that just tells you that you have to do your own due diligence. If you have a plan to go down and vote, then get in your car and go. Don't rely on somebody telling you that you can't. Because if someone's telling you you can't vote right now, then that is highly suspect. This is America. You go vote. Don't let anybody stop you.
Get in line, in other words, Matt.
Get in line.
A slow and grueling line.
That's right.
Stay in line.
Slow and grueling. And then, of course, out in Colorado, this Secretary of State out in Colorado, she was famous in 2020 or 22, whenever it was, but she's going to be famous again. She's confirming here that the voting machine passwords were leaked online.
Gosh.
I mean, oops, right? Oops. And then a brave reporter, I'm going to call them brave, a brave reporter out there in Colorado decided to challenge her on her mistake here by highlighting some of her past mistakes. Let's watch this.
This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They, of course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when, in fact, they had already voted, causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now this leak of the voting system passwords. Given your office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Absolutely not.
Shocker.
She's like Kim Cheadle of the U.S. Secret Service, who wouldn't resign in the wake of the assassination attempt of President Trump, but then eventually did resign. I just wonder if this Jenna Griswold is the same person that leaked the Israeli war game plan over to Iran recently. Because, I mean, having a leak like that of the voting machine passwords, I mean, this stuff is supposed to be the most secure stuff ever. And they're just leaked online passwords. So have at it, folks. It's the election it's completely suspect already now.
Right. And Josh, it just goes back to the point you said earlier. This could all be solved if we just go to one-day voting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I just wonder as a doomer, is this just late phase empire stuff? You know, like it's so ridiculously unorganized. And now we have the voting machines. It's everyone's been afraid of forever.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to just believe that, you know, you ever see the news articles? They come like every few months, like company, whatever, leaked all its credit card data all the time. And, you know, that you would think that that's the most secure stuff. And we're going to trust like these computer systems to come in and to keep our vote.
Yeah, you can't. And you're right to ask the question, like, is this the final nail in the coffin for machines and early voting and all this, or is this just the beginning of a new life where we live under this tyrannical system where we just have to take their garbage, eat it, and smile and move on and just accept it? I like. If this goes, if all of these shenanigans continue throughout the rest of the week, and then get heightened on Tuesday, November 5th, like there is already, I don't know what the polling is, but there is serious polling data that shows that a lot of people, I don't know if it's a majority, believe that there was something wrong with the 2020 election. And if those things are just heightened after this election, and they continue to hold power, I mean, where do we go? What is that moment between November 6th when we wake up and January 6th when they certify the vote? What is that period going to look like?
Chaos. It's going to be chaos no matter what.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that Democrats for a long time have been pushing for online voting. You think this is bad?
Oh, jeez.
They want internet voting where you just vote from the comfort of your own home. Oh, it makes it so easy on you. You don't have to go anywhere. But we can all see the problems with that, with influencing the elections and your vote never counting, or it was somehow magically erased, or whatever. Or you get illegal people voting that shouldn't vote, or even people from overseas voting in American elections. So this is what they want. They don't want to govern with the will of the American people. That's what it boils down to. Americans have a voice. The voice is being censored, stifled, shoved down into the garbage.
Yeah. And they would say that even if if there's a popular vote win for Trump, I could see the argument being made that the misinformation was so heightened that the American people were lied to, that why would you blame certain people on the right for believing all of the misinformation? And if they're not paying attention to the news anymore, they were lied to. And so we feel bad for them. And therefore we need to fix it, and we need to clamp down. And this is everything that they've been saying for years now about misinformation. And so maybe they're going to take the tack that even if Trump does win, that it's illegitimate because of the misinformation, which is exactly what we've been saying when when folks like Robert Epstein that pointed out how Google's algorithm helped give Biden a 20% or 80% sway in voters understanding of what the facts were about the election in 2020. I mean, it's all propaganda. We're all being propagandized now.
You brought up an excellent point, because certification is the key. You don't become president without the votes being certified. And there have been more than rumblings. There have been actual statements from members of U.S. Congress, like U.S. Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat, who says that they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Trump is not certified. Should he be the victor in the election, Congress is going to make sure that the election is not certified. So therefore, you don't legally become president. So that is going to cause one heck of an outrage with Americans across the nation if Trump does win and they say, oh, well, you're still not going to be president because Congress is not going to certify the election. So get ready for that.
Yeah. And January 6th that's the same day. That's when they certify elections, Josh.
Oh man, the January 6th stuff, it just makes me ill because, you know, it was worse than 9/11, right, Matt? You know.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see, like, I can imagine an entirely different crowd surrounding the Capitol, January 6th style, but the media cheering it on, saying this is democracy. That would be awesome because, you know, like, revealing hypocrisy is just once you see it, you see the truth, and you don't have an excuse. You've gotten to see, oh, they're doing the exact same thing, and somehow people still miss it. But that will be an incredible moment if that's what we see. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you know who saw it last time firsthand was Derek Evans, and he was a Congress, or not a congressman. He was a representative in this in-state representative in West Virginia. He was a J6er who spent some time in prison, and this is what he posted on X. You think this election is in the bag, but I hate to remind you that between 2 and 5 a.m. they found 140,000 mail-in ballots in Washington, 200K in Michigan, 1 million ballots in Pennsylvania, all for Biden, none for Trump. Don't take it for granted. And that's the truth. I mean, it was in the bag in 2020. I mean, I was sitting there. It was 8:30 p.m. my time when we were all sitting around watching, and they said, oh, they stopped voting. They stopped counting the vote in this state, and you're like, wait, what is going on? And then Arizona, I mean, we all could tell the story of how that felt at that time, but it was like, what is going on? So don't sit back, folks. You gotta vote. You gotta vote. Has everybody on this channel voted right now? Joe?
I'm voting tomorrow.
You're voting tomorrow. And Joe,
yeah, I brought mine
week.
in too.
Yeah.
I didn't trust the postal service. That's how bad I don't trust the government. It's just, I brought it in, drove it to the elections office here, and gave it to the clerk. Now, what happens after it's given to the clerk? Who knows?
Who knows?
But this is the situation we're in now, where people don't have confidence. There was a time in America when you could be confident that the votes actually counted, and we've had elections since going back to the founding of the country. Even during the United States Civil War, where brothers were killing brothers, we had elections taking place. So elections is all about, America is all about elections, free elections, fair elections, and legitimate, confident elections. But now it's almost become a joke where the people who perfected elections back in the day are now the butt of a global joke. It's become that serious where people have no trust, no confidence in the elections, sad to say.
Yeah, it's very true. But folks, if you're watching, go vote. We're posting up comments here. If you have your plan to vote, share what your plan is. Tell us how you're going to vote. If you've already voted, let us know that you're voting. If you don't have an account on Rumble, you need to do that so you can get the comments up there. If you're on Facebook, X, wherever you're at, tell people how you're voting, when you voted, if you voted. Just encourage everybody to get out there and vote. I mean, it's all we have. I mean, Joe, I could just imagine you're like, I got my ballot. Like it's the most secure thing ever. And it is. And you walk over and you're like, here you go. And you just hand it over to the system, and you just kind of
please count it.
Please. Yeah.
Don't burn it.
Don't burn it. Yeah,
don't put it in the garbage.
That's right. Oh man. Well, we want to leave you with some good. I know I laugh usually through this entire program because if I don't, I'm going to cry. But usually, I love it that we can end on some funny moments here. But somebody put together a great compilation. Was it Jesse Waters, the Jesse Waters program that did this? Let's watch some of this. This is pretty funny.
If Donald Trump gets in there, what is the first executive order he should sign?
No tax on tips.
Stop the horrible, drastic inflation.
Send these illegals back to where they came from.
Mass deportation. Every day but Saturday, because Saturday's the Sabbath.
Oh, this one's going to get me in trouble.
If Trump wins this election, Kamala is going to have to call him to concede. How's that call going to go?
Hey, Donald. Break. Next line. I've been in power for 4 years and I haven't done anything.
You won this fair and square, and I suck.
I'm awful.
Congratulations, but you don't deserve it.
You did it, Donald. You did it.
You're going to be the next president of the United States.
Trump's been doing this for almost a decade. What has been your favorite Donald Trump memory?
When he said only Rosie O'Donnell.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
His dancing at the end of rallies are one of my favorite things ever.
Huge. It's going to be huge.
Huge. When he got back up and said, fight, fight, fight.
When he was in the debate with Hillary Clinton, and he said, if I was president, I would put you to jail.
Because you'd be in jail.
You guys, I don't understand the left. They have been missing out on years of fun. Years of fun. I was talking to my wife the other day. I'm like, isn't it so sad that half your family is like, they're miserable. Like, these people are miserable. Look how much fun people have at a Trump rally. Look how much fun we get to do with the memes and just watching Trump, who's been on television and in the spotlight for over 40 years. It's incredible. It's incredible the amount of fun that's been going on. And we have a chance at doing some real change in this country. I suspect.
Matt, how can they have fun when trans genocide exists? Okay, give them a break. There's some kind of bizarre Christian, right? They care about like fake sins, fake evil. It's inverted.
Yeah.
Just remember,
they don't get it.
Mass deportations every day except Saturday, because that's the Sabbath.
Hey man, it's the Sabbath.
Oh, that's good. All right. Well, gentlemen, I mean, I think, 6 days away, the next time we're on the air here, it'll be 3 days away or whatever the count is, but it's going to be extraordinary. So I just encourage everybody to get out there and vote, do what you can and stay in line, stay in those lines and bring batteries for your phone so you can record these shenanigans. Joe, where can we follow you and make sure to keep up on your news?
Besides WorldNetDaily.com, I have an X page of my own. It's at Joe Kovacs News, at Joe Kovacs News. I also have a Bible-related website, which is reachinggodspeed.com, reachinggodspeed.com. And again, WND is where you'll find most of my work.
Excellent. All right. And Josh, are we still banned on YouTube or are we streaming over there again?
As we were doing this episode, Matt, I was hearing like the election stuff and I'm like, they're going to strike us for sure. We are back on YouTube.
Sorry.
But man, I don't know for how long, especially leading up to the election, they're getting like more prickly about what you can actually say, which is like, I hope if Trump wins, there's a pushback on all these social media companies. This includes Facebook. We're on Facebook, but we know they throttle us as well. So that's my promo there, guys. Go to Rumble. Need you to follow and like. Hey, if you're watching this right now, I want to know how you're watching it because a lot of people don't do the stuff. They don't go over, like, and subscribe. We need you to do that, especially at Rumble, especially at X. And if you commented in the show today, we really appreciate it. That was awesome. And I saw a lot of comments come from both Facebook and Rumble. And we love those, okay? Keep putting them in there. And follow us on X. That's a big one, WorldNetDaily. And also, you can follow me at Josh_, Turnbow on X. I have a lot of content over there and a lot of reposts of what we're doing at WorldNetDaily. And I think we have our Instagram. And I think we'll put that up. There you go. Follow that. That's great. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. It's growing rapidly. And you'll know the latest on Diddy, which I don't prefer myself, but it's there and it's happening.
It's happening for sure.
Yeah.
Also, WND's co-founder Elizabeth Farah, her show, man, she's got some great guests, and you got to go over to Rumble and watch them over there too. I mean, it's been really great watching her do these really in-depth interviews with these folks on what can America survive with a Kamala presidency. Thank you, Calcom, for watching on Rumble. Fantastic.
Thank you, Calcom. We love it.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, folks. Well, we'll be back here on Friday. You can take us with you if you're at the polls too, and on the Rumble app, and just watch us while you're in line. But stay in line. We'll see you next time. Take care. God bless.